Last week, the channel went over 7,000 subscribers, and I thought that was a good milestone to stop and talk about the state of the channel, where it's been, and where it's going. And I've asked my buddy Patrick to facilitate that discussion as we embark on the road to 10,000. Welcome to the Hair Metal Guru. My name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. And yes, Patrick is here because holy shit, the channel, well, number one, the channel just turned 2 at the beginning of July. I think it was July 9th was the 2-year anniversary. We just went over 7,000 subscribers and we kind of talked about like, okay, now we're on the path to 10,000. And it is you, the people who continuously come back and support the channel. None of this is possible without you. I am forever indebted to you. But Patrick and I thought, you know what? This is a good time to do like a state of the channel, talk about some things that have happened over the course of it, maybe some things that are gonna happen. And I was like, hey, how about you come up with questions and how about you kind of interview me and you and I will discuss it since he is such a huge part of everything that's happened with it. Anyway, so with that, Patrick, welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I've said before how important this channel was to me. I went through some really rough medical times, and when you can't get out of bed and you can't do a lot of things and you can't be around your loved ones because of your health, well, you turn to things to try and fill that void. And this channel did that for me, and I'm always going to be grateful for that. So I think if that did that for me, imagine what it's done for lots of other people who just haven't said so. And this channel is a massive part of people's day. And, I've had people contact me saying, God, this is what I listen to on the way to work, or this is what I do when I'm feeling down. And so this channel means a lot to a lot of people. And it means a lot to me that you asked me to come on to do this with you.
Damn, dude, shit, don't freaking almost getting misty eyed. I'm not even joking. Thank you. And I turned this into a Patrick ass kissing portion. But if you didn't know, behind the scenes, the majority of the interviews that I do, Patrick has been the person reaching out to the artist and getting the confirmations. And then he just goes, hey man, this person is in, and he sends me the contact information. There is no way this channel does what it has done and will do without you. So, man, you are just I can't ever thank you enough. You should be getting paid in
No,
something more than dick pics that I send continuously.
just
So,
keep them
I just
coming.
thank you so much for everything that you've done. And again, thank you to everybody that watches. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I never, when I did my first video, ever thought that we would be here now. So it's unbelievable. So with that, I'll shut up. And Patrick, I guess I'll turn it over to you. I don't know if you just want to go right into the questions or kind of talk about how you decided what you were going
I,
to ask me. But
I have a pretty vast knowledge of this channel inside and out. And, one of the things we talk about, you and I talk about behind the scenes, when we get ready to do a video, you start typing up an intro and we just have conversation. And, a lot of people don't realize we talk for probably 30 to 45 minutes before we do our first video.
yeah,
And one of the things we talk about a lot are the numbers.
yeah.
And you started this in the summer of 2023 with your very first video. You remember what that video was?
It was ranking the Warrant albums.
It
And I
was.
actually just watched. I never go back and watch, but I was downstairs working out, and all of a sudden on my YouTube popped up the very first. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna watch that. I was like, wow. Anyway, but yeah, so that was the first video.
Well, you ranked the Warrant albums and you mistakenly put Belly to Belly in the wrong spot. But I think most fans can look past that. But no, you did a great job in that
Because
video.
most of them probably agree with me. It's
And obviously, you had to learn form because it's not easy. People don't realize this isn't something that you just hop on and start talking.
Yeah.
It
Yo,
takes a lot of work and a lot of practice to become comfortable in front of the camera. And when you watch those first few videos, it looks like you're reading a script, and uh, here is Cherry Pie, a great record. But what do you really feel like it took to, I mean, it took a lot of balls to get up in front of the camera. You were a teacher for many years, so you'd been up in front of people. You'd always wanted to be a part of the music industry. Walk me through taking that leap.
uh, I started thinking about it. I mean, like I said, I'd always been wanting to do something to get in the music industry. I thought about writing, but I just didn't have the patience to be like, okay, well, if yeah, I can write something, but then you got to find somebody to share it, and it takes forever. Whereas YouTube, you can fucking record something and have it up, 30 minutes after you get done with it. Um, but I thought about it for like so long, and I'm like, well, fuck. How do you how do you record it? How do I get it from my phone to YouTube? All this different shit. And then I'll be honest, you're like, am I gonna do this? And people are gonna go, dude, who the fuck are you? Like, why should we why does your opinion matter on anything? Because you watch other channels and you're like, oh, well, that guy's got like 1,000 subscribers. I'm going into it with zero. So it's not like, I felt confident that my voice and everything was fine. Like, yeah, I'd been a teacher, but you're like, how am I going to introduce my channel? What was I going to name my channel?
Right.
I
Because you
had,
started out with the Higher Middle Haven.
and I was hair metal haven, but I had been the hair metal guru on X and Twitter for many years before I started the channel. But I was like, the how am I gonna I'm welcome how I'm the hair metal guru. I was like, what? So I was like, hair metal haven. Well, a haven is a place, and I was like, well, maybe this will be a place for people to come. So you know, I all it was all awkward. The music that I used during the montage, I had like a 20-second montage, I think. And I think
You
I
had a different logo.
and yeah, all weird logo. And I watched back and I was like, wow, it is amazing how it's changed. But what remains true, and when a lot of people are like, hey man, I love your channel. I'm thinking about starting a channel. What would you say? And I'm like, you know what? Fucking hit record.
Yeah.
Because if you sit and agonize about it and need it to be perfect, you will talk yourself out of it. And the first videos, like yeah, they're kind of like I can look back and go, "Oh, that's kind of cute." But you're right. A lot of it looks like I'm reading off a script and I'm like, "Oh shit, I don't know how I'm doing stuff." So, but I hit record and I just did it. And even when at first, you're like, I don't know if this is going very well, I just kept doing it. And so anyway, yeah, it's amazing how it's changed from the beginning till now.
Well, and one of the things that another aspect to this, that being as integrated with the channel as I am, is it gets lost how difficult it is coming up with content. And at first your channel was every few days there would be a new video.
Yep,
At this point, here we are 2 years later, and it's almost daily content.
almost daily.
The first several videos is a ranking system
Yep.
where you went through Warrant, Poison, Cinderella, Skid Row, Lillian Axe. Uh, Talk a little bit about where in the beginning did you see it? Was this going to be a channel of rankings of, where was the thought process here?
I didn't know. I mean, I figured at some point I would do like reviews, but my main concern was talk about something that you feel like that is your personal opinion, because again, I was like, well, I don't want to do something, and people are like, well, fuck, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm like, well, I know warrant, I know poison. I wanted something that was pretty simple, just to be like, okay,
You
I
do it in your sleep.
I can rank it, and if somebody disagrees, I can go, well, you fucking do your own rankings,
Right.
you know. But after you do a few videos, well, then I remember like, okay, well, okay, I'll try Lillian X, you know, a band that not many people knew about, and I wasn't, you know. But the first different video that I ever did was the Janie Lane video.
Yes, and 29,000 views. That
29,000.
explodes. It
And
explodes, and it exploded pretty quick. And
yeah.
I'll be honest, that's the first video I saw of yours. And I saw it because it actually popped into my feed. I turned the TV on one morning when I couldn't be around people, and here's this bald-headed idiot with a picture of him with Janie Lane. And I thought, well, fuck, that guy means the world to me. What's this loser got to talk about? And I watched it 3 times.
Wow. Um, what's remarkable is uh nowadays I would just write down a few notes. But back then, that video is actually I wrote an article for Sleaze Rocks
Yes.
after Janie Lane died. And I basically took that article and kind of read it in a way. Maybe not exactly, but I was like, how am I going to talk about Janie Lane? I didn't know if I could just start talking and have a cohesive story. And I'm like, well, fuck. I wrote this article. Maybe I could use that article and just hope that and if somebody would have said, "Hey, are you reading something?" I would have been like, "Yeah, well, I'm using this article as a basis for my and for whatever reason, that video took off and I was like, "Holy fuck."
Walk me through that because as being a part of the channel when you post things, it's hard not to sit there for the next hour or two and reload it and see, is this taking off? Are people enjoying this? And for what was it, maybe your fifth or sixth video, this thing takes off.
Um, I was so clueless about YouTube that in the first few videos, I don't even remember like going back and constantly checking the views. I'll be honest. Now I do. Like I put something out, or not constantly, but if I go by my computer, I'll hit refresh. Oh, see where I'm at. In the first few videos, I didn't even think about it. But I'll give Stevie Rochelle from Metal Sludge a shout out. From Tough. The warrant video, I wore a Tough shirt. And I'll be honest, I might have done that hoping that Stevie
To
would
get
see
some
it and maybe say something. So I shared the video with him and I was like, hey man, just started a YouTube channel, did a video ranking the Warrant albums, and I'm a huge Tough fan, so just thought I'd let you know I wore a Tough shirt during the video, just thinking maybe he would watch it. Well, then he ended up like sharing it on his Facebook page and saying, hey, this guy has good taste in clothes. I don't know if he ever watched the video, but whatever. But I was like, wow, a guy I love Tough shared my video on his Facebook page. And then when the Janie Lane thing came out, yeah, I don't remember when I knew, but I think that Warrant video like hit like 600 views in a few days, probably because of Stevie Rochelle. And
helps.
the Janie Lane video came out, and I remember thinking, holy shit, it's got 2,000. I didn't think 2000 would happen for like, a year. I thought I got to do this for a while. And I was like, I remember, don't be upset if a video only gets 20 or 30 views. Don't. It's okay. Everything that you read says you got to work it up.
Build it.
But that video happened and I'm so thankful that it did.
It leads you into, you kind of you do that video, it takes off on its own. You go back to the ranking formula. There's a lot more rankings. Here's the best ballads, here's this, here's that. And from July 9th of 2023, when the channel starts, you then go to March 31st of the following year, and you have your first guest, which is Metal Mike.
Yeah.
How did you get involved with him? I assume you were probably watching his channel.
He and I had been friends on Twitter or X long before I ever had a channel. Um, I mean, years ago. In fact, I had been on Twitter years ago and had actually bailed on it for a couple of years. I think, when politics was getting out, and I'm like, fuck, I'm just tired of this. So I bailed on it. I didn't really give a shit about it. And then a few years ago, probably a year maybe before I started the channel, I went back and started finding a lot of my old hair metal friends, Metal Mike, and all these people that I had talked to in the past. And one day he's like, uh, he invited me onto his channel. I can't remember who was first. Um, I may have been on his channel. I think I was on his channel first. And I'll tell you, well, number one, he is such a good guy, and he was part of the inspiration to me starting. But I
Mm-hmm.
remember we did a video and he put it out. And at the end of the year, he did like a wrap up and he was like, my most viewed video was the video I did with the hair metal guru. And I was like, fuck, that's that's a good
Pretty
thing. Like
cool.
shit. That made me feel good. That I
Absolutely.
was like, well, maybe people do like hearing me talk about this stuff. So anyway, so with that, being friends and then finally going, hey man, what shit? You want to come on and talk something? He's such a cool guy, so we did.
Albums that flopped with Metal Mike takes off. The second one that hits over 20,000. In the grand scheme of things to this day, the Janie Lane video and the albums that flopped are in your top 5 videos of all time in views.
Yeah.
And that surrounded folks by things like Ricky Rocket and Razor Fist and things like that, which are big internet, numbers. That's a very successful thing to have in your portfolio. So Metal Mike gives you that. And what people also may realize now is 6 days later, Brian shows up. Where the fuck does Brian come from?
He was we were shooting the shit a bunch on Twitter and follow me at Hair Metal Guru. Follow him at Cool as Ice. Was it 232?
232.
232. And I was like, I mean, I feel comfortable doing stuff on my own, but I thought, you know what? If I have somebody to bounce shit off of, maybe that would be fun to do. And Metal Mike had come on once and that had done really well. And Brian, I knew he had this station head show. And then I remember before I invited him on, I asked Metal Mike, I'm like, hey, have you ever had this guy on? And he's like, that douchebag, he sucks. Don't have him on. I'm just kidding. So he was like, yeah, he came on once. So I went and listened to it because Metal Mike, a lot of his are just view or listen only
Right.
at the not all videos. So I listened to it and I was like, oh, he did fine. So had him on and he was hilarious. And so there was a period, and I feel bad because I think I have had people who are like, is there something wrong with you guys? He used to be on weekly, but I used to only do a video a week.
Right.
For a long time, I did a video a week, so I had all this time to plan it and to talk to him. And now I don't. Now I do so much different shit, and a lot of like we were always doing Wednesday. Well, then I was doing interviews on a ton of Wednesdays, and doing all. So anyway, no, there's no problem with anybody on the channel. It's
No.
just the busier that I've gotten, the less, and your schedule just happens to work out with mine. And so you and I do a ton of stuff together and you're awesome. So anyway, yeah, that's how Brian ended up coming on.
And obviously Ryan it was on Metal Mike's stuff a lot, and we start to see at this period there's regular guests are peppering in all the time. Ryan's here, Brian's here, Ryan and Brian are here. Metal Mike shows up. Jeremy comes in. Jason Reed shows up. So, a year into this thing, and you've now gone from just making little videos where you're reading, your personality is taking over.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're feeling a lot more comfortable at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. It eventually, and I think anything like once you get a little bit of positive feedback, people start saying, "Oh man, I like your stuff. I look forward to your videos." And you're like, "Shit. No way." Now I remember you like I would get messages from these other countries. Hey, watching from the UK. Hey, watching from Australia. And I'm like, people from Australia are watching this shit?
People don't know how big you are in Bangladesh.
That's right. And me along with Saigon Kick are number one in Indonesia. And
Right.
and I'll like I always I don't want to say this in like a cock, but people always used like when I was a bartender and shit, people would be like, "You're so funny and you're like quick on your feet," and and I'm just that's what people would say, and it took a little bit of time. You can see it occasionally in the earlier videos, but I also look back and go, "Oh, I'm trying really hard." Instead of just letting it fly. And eventually I had to start letting it fly. And part of what helped that out was having these guests come on, where you have somebody to respond to with funny shit. It's
Right.
it's not as easy to be funny when you're by yourself because what makes shit funny is you saying something and me going, "Ooh, oh, I send you dick pics or whatever it is." So I the people that appear on the channel, the Mariahs, all the people that you mentioned, fucking the guys from Rock Resurgence, I'm gonna miss somebody, but and they're all amazing and now I'm talking about it, I'm like, fuck, you need to start making more of an effort to get these people back on because I know people like them. We
Well, let's
actually,
talk about them all for a minute.
yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to say names. I want a quick response about them.
Yep.
Jeremy.
He's a fucking douchebag. No, I'm kidding.
I love
Um,
Jeremy. I think Jeremy's fantastic.
Jeremy is I don't know how much I'm not going to say what, but he teaches in North Dakota. I was a teacher in North Dakota. One day I show up to work. I work I coach kids and they're like, "Hey, we got an email for you." And they're like, "I'm going to forward this to you." And it's Jeremy. And he's like, "Hey man." He goes, "I've been watching your channel." He goes, "I feel like you're maybe like my long lost brother." And he goes, and I wasn't gonna reach out to you. And then all of a sudden you're like, I find out you're in Fargo, North Dakota. He's like, I'm like 3 hours away. And North Dakota is such a small state that if you hear somebody is from North Dakota, it's like living in the same town in any other state. Like, holy shit. So after he emailed, and I know I'm going on, you wanted a quick thing, but I'm giving you the long version. What he's like, "Man, I'm going to come into Fargo sometime if you want to meet up." We met up. I'm like, "Dude, you are maybe the nicest guy I've ever met." And I'm not even, because yes, he's nicer than damn near everybody on the channel. He was like teacher of the
Including me.
year at the school he was at. He's so fucking polite. He smiles. He met my kid and my ex, and he's like hugging him, and I'm like, fuck, I'm like, I wish I could be more like Jeremy, and I'm not just saying that because that's a guy I aspire to be more like.
Another long-term member of the channel, Jay.
Jay Brannon. Jay Brannon was the first person I ever met because
Yeah.
he's in Iowa and starts messaging me online and we chat and I'm like, I'm having a fucking garage sale. I have all this shit out in my garage, all the frame stuff. And he's like, fuck, maybe I should come. And I'm like, dude, you're in Iowa. I'm like, how far is that? Like 5 hours. He fucking drives 5 hours and sits and shoots the shit with me all day and buys a bunch of stuff. And he's a musician and loves this shit. So he was the first person I met, and he's as big a music fan as there is. Great fucking guy.
From the 51st state, Jason Reed.
Jason Reed, I knew for years before we were talking on Twitter. We were in fact going to meet at a Kiss concert. I mean, I think this is before the pandemic, and for whatever reason, we didn't meet up. But once he mailed me a bunch of shit. He mailed me a Kiss box set. I mailed him a ton of like my posters,
Rain.
frame shit, and I was like, here, have all this. Tried to find some bands we'd like. He's maybe the funniest guy that appears on the channel. Brian's funny, a lot of other people funny, but Jason probably could have been a comedian in another life.
Tell
So,
you, I rolled on the floor when you were going off about Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo, and he said, "Well, none, you get him on the channel, you'll set his fucking ass straight."
yeah,
I had to pause the video and like take 5 minutes because I couldn't stop laughing. So
yep, yep.
the amazing Brian in the basement.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the first person who became a regular on the channel and shit when I remember we did a video on Lillian Axe and Steve Blaze from Lillian Axe reaches out to me is like, "Hey man, saw your video. I'd love to come on and I'll talk about the band. I'll talk for his." And he just thought Brian was he and I were part of the channel together. And he's like I go, "Well, actually I run the channel. He's just a guest." And he goes, "Well, you guys just have a chemistry together." So he goes, "If he goes, it's up to you, but you can have Brian on the interview." I was like, "Fuck it." So Brian came on the interview. And then I remember telling Brian, I said one day, and he remembers this. I was like, "Maybe you should start a channel.
Yeah,
Like you fucking got a ton of knowledge and you're funny as shit." So he and Jason would probably be the not everybody's, but they're two legitimately funny people. And I'm like, you have all this knowledge, and fucking lo and behold, he did. So that's probably another reason why he's not on as much, is he does his own shit. But
yeah.
yeah, so
There's
that's
been a lot of other folks on the channel. There's the Rock Resurgence guys have been on. Jones from Drummer Boy Jones, who love that kid. He's fucking
yep.
amazing. But I'd be remiss if the fan favorite, the ultimate fan favorite, Mariah. What do you have to say about the beautiful Mariah?
So Mariah was again friends on X. So there's this big community of us that talk about this shit on X. But I noticed she was responding to some of my videos, and I knew she was young. I mean, I don't know how, but like you see her on X. She's young. She's in college, and I'm like, she's leaving these comments, and I'm like, how the fuck do you know that? Like, you got to be like 22, 23. So it was, and all of her Twitter feed is all about hair metal. And she's like, my
Mhm.
favorite album of all time is Slave to the Grind and Guns N' Roses. And I'm like, gee. So one day I was like, she responded to a video. I was like, hey, you want to come on sometime? She's like, anytime. And she is a good friend. She is probably the person outside of the videos that I text with the most. We used to text all the time, and again, now I like we're now I'm talking about this shit, and I'm like, fuck, we used to text a lot more. And I'll be honest, and it's not a negative, but since I started putting out like damn near daily content, the amount of time I have to sit around and be like, "Hey guys, what's," is less. So I feel bad, Mariah, and all you guys. You guys are all awesome. You're a huge part of everything, and I apologize if I've let the channel detract from that friendship.
Well, I think your fan base is and the viewers of this channel love everybody who is on here. And I as a fan, because that's what I am at the end of the day, I'm a huge fan of this channel. And I think every single one of those guests that you've had on, whether they've been on once or 20 times, adds so much flavor to this channel. And you just look through those comments from your viewers, and it's one family. Talk about that. Talk about this community that you've built.
And before I do that, I gotta shout out Ryan because
Yes, Ryan. Yes.
Ryan has become just a great fucking friend, and I got hooked up with him through Metal Mike. Ryan's not on, he's on Facebook, but he's not on X. But I knew he was talking. He had
Sorry,
done a
Ryan.
bunch of stuff with Metal Mike, and he actually reached out. Or I can't remember. One of us reached out to one, and he was like, "Hey man, I'd love to come on. Love your channel." And I'm like, "Oh yeah," and it took a long time, but finally I was like, I was desperate for content, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll let that fuck come on once." Anyway, I'm just kidding. And that guy is legitimately a great fucking friend. So anyway, so and I don't know how it happened, but like we have this big text chain. We call ourselves the Hair Metal Misfits, and like 9 or 10 of us are in there. The Rock Resurgence guys, you're on it, Ryan, blah blah blah, all these guys, and it's become like this family. And again, even though we don't do as much stuff together, I still feel like they deserve all of this credit for what has come with the channel. And I would do anything for any of those guys. They've donated so much of their time and their knowledge and just their fucking friendship to being on here. And I know I talked about you, are a massive part of that. So all of you guys, I love you guys. And no matter what happens, man, we are the Hair Metal Misfits together.
And then obviously the most popular member of the channel, Charlie.
Yeah, you got big boobies. Yeah, you got 8 boobies. Um, Chart, she's sitting. Yeah, she was just out in the mud. I think I said, but I got Charlie. It was the a most amazing story. I had to put my old dog Roxy down a few years ago, and I was teaching at the time, and I had a couple students, and I was telling this class, I'm like, yeah, I'm so bummed about my dog, and I'm like, I hope to get another dog at some point because my son we both are dog lovers, and 2 of these kids are like their mom is a dog breeder, and they go talk to their mom, and Charlie was had been bred a few times, and they were like, "Hey, we're starting to think about finding her a new home. We want to give her to you." So, uh, through this connection at school, I get Charlie for free, and she was 5 years old at the time, and she's
Oh,
part of the theme song, and she is seriously the best dog ever. She is, and usually, even if she doesn't like show up in a video, she's usually sitting by my feet. So, yeah, I love that people talk about her. I love that she's part of the theme song, and I love all the jokes that we make about her because you have big boobies and you like peanut butter. It just adds to the channel, so she's amazing.
right. That's awesome. And we've got a bigger community in your viewers and
Yeah.
your comment section. Every video, regardless of the topic, Anthony, has 30 to 50 to some have over 200 comments. What does that feel like for you? I mean, look at the discussions you're starting.
Well, number one, you're gonna make me feel fucking bad, and no, I'm not. I'm
No, but I'm talking more
no,
the way you're building this.
no. You are exactly right, and the only reason I was saying that is again, the bigger the channel has gotten, the more difficult it. I always had a goal to respond to every comment, and for a while I did that, but I, I'll go away from that. It's shocking, and from where people come from, and some people that respond to every video. So yeah, I mean the amount of comments. Sometimes I'm shocked. You go to a video and there'll be like 50 fucking comments and they're from, and most 99.9% of them are just complimentary. And without trying to toot, the people who are like, oh, I love this channel, and it's such a big part of my, like, when I'm on fucking YouTube, or I look forward to every time you come out with a new video, and maybe you'll even go into, but there's people who are on everything, and the members of the channel, the people who actually pay a little bit just to like support the channel, unfucking real. So yeah, it feels, you see these same names all the time, and you're like, man, I've never met these people, I've never talked to them on Zoom like I do with you, but I feel like I know a bunch of these people.
Well, I think it's pretty remarkable. I made my first appearance on the channel in February of 2025 on Motley Crue's 10 Things I Think I Think. And within what people don't know about Anthony is he usually makes you sit and wait for a month and a half before your video comes out. So So I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God, I'm gonna be on this show that I love. Oh my God." And then it was like radio silence for a month. And then all of a sudden I get a text that says, "Hey, I'm editing your video." Joking aside, the minute that video came out, I started getting messages from people. And, I now have a whole new set of friends in my life that I don't think I go a day without talking to some of these people who even know things about me in my regular everyday life now. And hey, how did that go? Hey, how you doing? People like Scott G and J629. Love that kid. He's fantastic. And I bounce ideas off of your viewers for things that we could do. They've submitted things to me and gone like, "Hey, shit, you should do this." And they've been overwhelming successes.
Yeah.
What I've ultimately tried to get at in this, Anthony, is you've built a community off of this show.
Yeah.
Whether it's hard to believe or not, you have. And there is, 7,000 people who at one time or another looked at this show and went, "I want more of this."
Yeah.
And that's got to be quite a good feeling.
I'll be honest. Like you talking about it that way and saying some of these names, I could damn near get emotional. And I'm not a, you like I can be a crier at times. I'm not gonna
Me
cry
too.
right now, but like shit. Geez, now I am gonna get emotional. The amount of messages that I get and I don't even know what to say. Like it's when you're like 7,140 people uh have said, "You know what? I like what that guy does." And the J629s, the Scott, and now I want to say like fucking all the
Everybody I
names
know.
that I remember in the comments, but people who are constantly like in the comments, and you're like, these people take time out of their day. And I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I'm like, fuck, I don't go and leave a bunch of comments like that. And yet these people do that for what I do. It's just shocking, and I could damn near get emotional.
Sure.
And now I'm starting to wonder if I might. But it's amazing, and it truly feels like this family. It's all these people that love this music, and I hope. And there's other great YouTube channels out there,
Absolutely.
tons of them that I love watching too. But I hope that the people that watch and comment feel like this is a place we can all get together to celebrate this music that we all love.
And I think it's also important. About 2 weeks ago, we did a video together where we went through the comments because it's an easier way to communicate with your base. And that was such a resounding success from the comments that we got back from it that I think we committed to doing that more often for you.
I think it's a good idea. Number one, it was a lot of fun. Uh,
Yes.
I like, like, and you came up with that idea, but I like, like even like this. It's not planned out. I have no fucking clue what you're gonna ask. And sometimes I feel like that's where funny shit happens and that's where interesting shit happens. But yeah, I never want I legit it bothers the shit out of me when I know, hey man, you have a bunch of videos with a ton of comments and you haven't responded to them. I do not want somebody sitting out there thinking, oh well, fuck that guy doesn't give a shit because I do. And legitimately not, I'm gonna say it keeps me awake at night. Like that is something that really makes you go, damn it, maybe you should put out less stuff because then you'll have more time. But so I've kind of made a trade-off. I've said, you know what, I'm gonna try to do damn near daily content. And unfortunately, the part that sucks is that gets kind of
That's
left
the
behind sometimes.
price. Yeah. One of the things that this channel has evolved quite a bit. I mean, that's been kind of the tone of this whole interview is that this evolved from a ranking system and talking about a band for 25 minutes to it's evolved to regular debate, regular conversation, panel videos, rankings, funny videos, if you will, about hair metal, to something that has really taken off, which is the interviews. And I'm sure when you look back on the first one with uh, Mike Matajevic from Steelheart to
Mikey
Ricky
Steelheart.
Rock, yeah, Mikey Steelheart, as Ryan calls him, to Alexi Lawless to you're ranging all over the place. And what people don't know is there's probably 25 interviews in the can that
Yeah,
have been recorded that will be coming out.
yeah,
We went on quite a tear of getting people. We kind of pumped the brakes for little periods and then we ramp it back up.
yeah.
Tell everybody about how do you keep the fanboy out of it? How do you relax and prepare? And what goes into this? Because it's more than just, I'm talking to Ricky Rocket tomorrow. Ricky, I think Poison's great. How about you? Thank God you didn't do that.
Number one, you are really fucking good at interview. I'm gonna tell everybody this right now. Like my big fear, and we've actually talked about it, is I'm like, fuck, Patrick has so much knowledge. He could start his own YouTube channel, and then I'll be sitting here going, fuck, I really wish I had Patrick around more. So anyway, whatever you do,
Appreciate
like you are fucking awesome. So the first interview was Mikey Steelheart, and I'll be honest, I was shitting my pants. I'm sitting here with the Zoom get ready, and his name pops up, and I'm like, "Holy fuck!" I'm talking
it's
to a rock
happening.
star.
Yeah.
But here's what I do is probably a day or two before it's scheduled. um, I start researching online. And obviously there are some bands where I don't have to do much because I know everything they put out. But, I try to find out shit that maybe I didn't know. I try to find out about their childhood. I try to find out, I try to know everything like who produced their albums and blah 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 and what was going on with the band. Anything that I can. And then I try to watch multiple interviews and I sit with my fucking computer open and I listen to these interviews. And because I'm like, maybe they will say something that I didn't know or something that I would like to know more about. So then I sit and I'll write down, oh, shit, what's something that who did I just interviewed Ian Haugland and in his interview shit, maybe that's a bad example. But I sit and listen to all these interviews and then just write down notes. I want to know more about this. Or I didn't know that had happened. I didn't know that, when they were on break, there was talk of breaking up or whatever it was. I write down all these notes. And then I got to put them all in fucking order and I try to get some sort of, and the more you do it, the more it's become easier like I have. But like I'll write down all these intro questions, if I want to know about their childhood or shit. And then I get everything up to the first album and then I have all the facts about the first album, and then when I get done with talking about that album, I go down and I have my questions for the second album and things, but it takes a ton of hours before I ever do an interview. And so then when I sit down and I send them the Zoom link as soon as they pop on, like I'll have notes right below my video screen. And it's not like I'm reading everything, but like, oh, ask about this or ask about that, something to kind of guide me. But, a lot of times, like, yeah, I use the questions, but then based on whatever they talk about, then I just respond with, oh shit, I didn't know that. Like, let me know more about that. And hopefully the best interviews I've always felt are the ones where I forget that I'm doing an interview and we just kind of end up talking back and forth. And I
Sure.
might glance down to my notes every now and then, but it turns out to be more of a conversation. But yeah, that's kind of what the work that goes into before I sit down to do an interview.
Well, I think the biggest difference between the interviews that are on this channel and that are on other channels, is that seems to be the form. of what this channel covers in their interviews. This isn't on April 10th, you put out Cherry Pie.
Yeah.
The first single was Blah. Tell me about that.
Yeah.
It's, hey, look, Cherry Pie comes out and blah, 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 blah. There's a flow. It's a conversation.
Yeah.
And your audience feels like they're a part of this. We're all sitting in the room while you're conducting this interview. And I think that's a kudos to you because even your the folks that you've interviewed say that to you in your interviews. So I think you should really take a moment and celebrate the fact that your interviews do high numbers in their views because of how comfortable you make those folks and they open up to you. Drew Rose talks about his chemical dependency issues in depth.
Yeah.
You've got Maddie Lane, which was a huge score for this channel, talks about things that most families wouldn't tell a soul.
Yeah.
There's moments in some of those interviews that are damn near emotional enough to make people cry. I know I got a little weepy because of how important Janie Lane was to my life, hearing that story from Maddie. And, people have reached out saying that that's just, if you look at the comments on the Maddie Lane interview specifically, that in and of itself speaks to what a success these interviews are becoming for this channel. Can you talk a little bit about how you feel the future of where you want to see interviews goes?
I hope that this channel becomes the place that musicians go to tell their story. I legitimately hope that. I'm not saying that I'm so good at it, but what I hear in the comments is you don't make it about you. You let them speak. And again, like when I say that, I'm like, oh, that sounds fucking cocky. But I've never, when I do these, it's about me. And but when it's about them, I try to just sit back and let them go. And, so I've been fortunate that so many people, and I sometimes I'm shocked at how well some of the interviews do, like one thing when I do an interview with somebody, I go look and I'm like, oh, how well did their interviews do on other channels? And you're like, well, hopefully I can do as well as the other. Obviously, if it's somebody like Jason Green who's got like 33,000, his interviews obviously do well. But
For a channel that has 7,000
yeah,
subscribers,
yeah,
to be doing an average on your interviews of anywhere between 1,200 to 44,000
yeah,
speaks to how well these interviews are doing.
yeah. And the artists, a lot of the artists, um, Drew Rose shortly afterwards is like, man, I'm getting all these people reaching out to me about this interview. And like that was surprising to him. Bobby Borg, after our
Yes.
interview, was like, man, people that I haven't talked to in forever are reaching out to me. And they're, so it just feels and yeah, I was so nervous for Mike. Well, and for Mikey Steelheart, it was supposed to be only 20 minutes. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to interview somebody in 20 minutes? So, and to be the channel where people are coming on for an hour and a half or 2 hours
4 hours.
or 4 hours. And I've had two people that were on for 4 hours. And so, which is great. And people are, like Greg Jafria said at some point, he goes, I don't know what you're doing to me. Like you're doing something to make me tell the truth. And I took that as a huge compliment because I just want them to feel like, you know what? This guy has good intentions. I'm not out here to make them look bad. I want them to look good and I want them to feel comfortable sharing stuff that might be difficult to talk about, but I feel like if they do talk about some of the darker times, Drew Rose talking about his drug addiction, like some of the bad times, it makes the fans go, wow, you are human. It makes, I think, the fans connect to that artist more. And you're not, you are like us. And sometimes like I get done with some of these interviews and I become more of a fan because they shared, they didn't just try to portray themselves as, oh, look at how great my life is, because my life has been shitty at times and so is theirs. And now I feel like, hey, you know what? We are closer than you would think.
It's also interesting too, as a fan of these interviews and as a fan of this music, we've built these people in the last 30 to 35 years into being something that we don't know if they are or aren't. And at the end of these interviews, we realize they're people like us. They live and feel pain like us. They've had highs and lows like all of us, and we're all just big fans of this music. Anthony, you've got 832,000 views of your videos.
No shit. I didn't know that.
And this channel only continues to grow at a clip, sometimes over 100 to 150 subscribers a week,
Yeah.
which is rapid growth. It's something that when I reach out to artists and say, look, the Hair Metal Guru YouTube channel would like to speak with you and do a career spanning interview, I feel like it's gotten easier and easier to get more people because of the rapid growth.
Yeah.
Along with growth can come criticism. And some of that criticism is the crude humor
Yeah.
and the language.
Yeah.
To which, a lot of times I know when I see a bad comment and I text you and I say, look what this person has to say. Do they not know how to have fun?
Yeah.
But in reality, everybody has different standards and different ways of life. What does it make you feel like when you see people say that?
Um, there's a part of me that is like, well, shit, I don't want you to come on and be like, oh man, that guy's a pig and I don't because like I know that there's a time to talk professionally. I was a teacher. I never swore in the classroom. I was a captain in the military for well, I mean I was a captain for a few years, but I was in the military for 22 years. I knew when it was okay to talk that way and I knew when it was okay that I didn't. And when I started talking about this when I started this channel and was like and you have guests on. Here's what I compare it to. People say like and I've said this before, one of the best comments I get is like when somebody says, "You know what? Watching you and your buddies talk about this music reminds me of me and my
Yeah.
buddies back in high school or back in college talking about this music." Do you ever notice this? Like my best friends from high school, some of them I have not seen in years. But as soon as I see them, we automatically revert back to high school. We
Yes.
talk like fucking idiots. We joke just like we did back then. And that's how I feel I take this channel is I'm talking about music like I would back in the day. And I want the people watching to be like he's talking to me like he's talking to his best friends. So
Absolutely.
unfortunately, not everybody looks at that way and they go, well, you swear a lot, you use a lot of, well, if I was back in high school at a bonfire drinking beer with my buddies or in the military, like when I was a kid and the day ends and you go to a bar and this is how we were talking.
Right.
We were F-bombing and you fucking, and you're, joking about being gay and shit like that, which I know is not politically correct. I'm so not anti-gay at all. But that's how I joke with my best friends. And some of the things that you say with your best friends are, yes, probably shit that some people find pretty crude. But that's what I'm trying to portray. There are going to be people who don't like it. But I think what I hear from people who do like the channel is they go, you know what? It's way different. There are no other, and Brendan Snyder, who I like, see these other guys aren't talking this way, and not that swearing, but
No, but it's casual conversation.
yes, yes, and again, it brings it reminds me of talking with my best buddies back when this music was big. That's how we talked, and that's how I want the channel to be looked at.
And a kudos to you because when people do make that comment, I've never not once seen that comment not get addressed.
Right.
You always address it head on, and whereas I think a lot of people would just leave that comment without a response, you always respond to those people. And as a testament to you, you always thank them for watching anyway.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a good
I've
thing.
I've tried to never be somebody who is like, oh, I'm going to delete negative comments. There have been comments that I've deleted if they go out of bounds or talk, in a. I mean, there are some things that I don't like, but yeah, I want people to know like where I'm coming from.
As we wind this to the end of where we're current, there have been some controversial figures on the channel. Obviously we've talked about it before in your comments video. One of them being Giancarlo Floridia. There's been some other, I don't want to say controversial is not the right word, but there's definitely material that's discussed that asks a lot of questions in Maddie Lane's video.
Yep.
She alludes to the fact that she even puts names out there of who may have been with Janie at his end. This channel can oftentimes break news.
Yeah.
We've been featured on Blabbermouth.
Yep.
You've been featured on other websites. You've been interviewed on the radio. Where do you see this going?
Uh,
Obviously the road to 10,000 subscribers will take you somewhere. Where would you like it? Where would you like to steer it to?
that's a great question. I never thought, it's led to me doing Hair Metal Mansion on Rock 101 KLOL.
Yes.
It's led to me doing some stuff with FNA Records. Um, First of all, like I said, I want this to be. I mean, would I be lying if I said I want this to be the number one place people go to for like hair metal content or music content? Yes, that's what I would like. I don't. Where is the number one place to go now? Metal Sludge. I mean, is it? That's not a YouTube, but it's a news
Right. It's
form. Um, you know, uh, Brendan Snyder does, he mainly talks about music that he gets and stuff. He does do like he does rankings and things like that. So I guess I want to be number one in the world if possible. And I would, uh I'm so I was gonna say something. I'm like, that's gonna sound bad. I was gonna say, would I like to be the Rick Beato? No, Rick Beato has like fucking millions. But I'm just saying, when it comes to hair metal, the place where you would like to get interviewed to have your story told. I know I said that before. I would like that to happen. And you and I are branching out into news things. So we're starting to be known more for that. Um, I think I think what is making the channel right now is the interviews. It's they're growing exponentially. I mean, some of them are getting really big, and I think I think the channel's reputation for when interviews come out is that people seem to really like them. I think that's a lot of the future of the channel. And, I mean, I hope more opportunities come out of it. I mean, do I one day hope like fucking Monsters of Rock Cruise is like, hey, we get to have the hair metal guru and his buddy Patrick come on and comes, do I hope shit like that happens? Yeah. Do I think it will? Probably not. But is there this sliver of me that as the channel grows, starts thinking, well, maybe some shit like that? Maybe
there's
we can get
definitely
Brett Michaels on or something like that. I think that's possible.
there's a lot of talk that people don't know that like I said earlier, we usually have brainstorming sessions several times a week
Yeah.
via text or FaceTime or whatnot, where we're talking about content and going places. There's been discussions about a Patreon. There's been discussions about, doing more debate style videos or having some of the members of the channel that you have come on and do a debate or do that. We even once talked about putting on a game show where, beat the guru or the guru, $10,000 pyramid type, contest or, things like these that there's a never-ending stream of ideas for this channel that will take this channel into the future. I know one thing I did want to touch on that I meant to touch on earlier is you had talked about a long time ago when we first met. You had once said to me, "Do you think the name of the channel presents an issue for artists to come on because of the term hair metal, or does it put walls up around the possibilities for the channel?" It's my personal opinion, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But talk to that.
I have agonized over that at times, and I've told you about that. Like when you start something, like I used to really like the Goo Goo Dolls, and the Goo Goo Dolls would say, "Well, we just threw out a fucking name, and it stuck, and now we're stuck with it." And obviously they became a big band, so it worked out for them. But they have said at times that they regretted the name the Goo Goo Dolls. I don't regret, like I don't regret the name the hair metal guru. I just hope, and I think this, I worry about it less as the channel grows, but like Jason McMaster from Dangerous Toys, now he did come on the channel, but he hates the term hair metal. And if you are an artist who's like, I'm trying to get away from that, I don't want to be associated with hair metal. Well, number one, that's unfortunate. Like if you are trying to deny your past, if that's what your past is, that's unfortunate. But, you know, do I worry that there are some people who are like, I don't want to be associated with that term. I hate it. That's my only concern. It's not that I don't like, I want the channel to reach as broad an audience as possible. And maybe if I had named the channel the Guru TV or something, I don't know. Maybe that would have opened more doors. But I remember telling you once, I said I wonder if I should have, and you were like, no, it's great, blah blah blah, and you were and I think I even said, I'm like, should I change it? And I don't think I was ever serious about it, but you said that, you have such a name recognition now, and you were right. So as we've gotten so many bigger artists, and I think people are realizing, that we are a thing. Like people
It
are
is a
talking
force to be
about us.
reckoned with. Yeah.
We're in Blabbermouth. We're in Metal Sludge. We are getting big names. We're doing big numbers. I think the stigma of the name is lessening, and more people are just kind of, hey, it's just what it fucking is.
Well, the power of this channel is that it has a community behind it of viewers that grows at massive clips. It's getting the recognition of the artists who make the music. 7,000 is where we're at here in August of 2025. 10,000 is where we're looking to get to. If you view this channel, if you love this channel, if you love this content, the best thing you can do is view it and tell somebody about it
Yeah.
and help this channel grow, because this channel is a testament to the love of the music. And at the end of the day, the guru, myself, and every single person who comes on this channel and discusses it, whether it's the artists, Brian, Ryan, Jason Reed, Jones, all of them, we're just fans of this music and we love it. And Anthony, what you've created is something so massive. And I think if I speak for everybody on this, that we're so appreciative of it. And let's get this damn thing to 10 fucking thousand as soon as possible. So,
Man, you are gonna start your own channel sometime, you fucker. Uh, Thank you. And I wanna, before we wrap up, um, You can join the channel to become a member. It costs a little bit. There's different levels. You get like, but I want to shout out, and I don't do this enough. I need to do it more. But there are people that I think 23 members who pay like a little bit each month. So if I can, I'm going to take a second and I'm going to
Do
go.
it, man.
Jay Johnson has been a member for fucking 15 months. Matt C. I think it's Chechia, but he's been a member since for 14 months. He's awesome. Metal Mark has been a medal for 13 months. Mick Friendo has been for 11 months. Casey Tom, who I have met, he's in like 40 miles from me. He has been
Wow.
a member for 9 months. Lori Ann is so awesome. She is actually a really good friend of mine, and she has been a member for fuck, how long has it been? 6 months. She is great. Kappa Phil has been a member for 6 months. James has been for 5 months. Rory C for 5 months. Maybe I won't do all their times now. Where the fuck am I? Rory C. John G. And Ryan, who comes on the channel, is a member. And fuck, this thing keeps fucking up. Probably have to edit this out. Drummer Boy Jones is a member. John G. Ryan V. Rob C. is a member. Jared Mitchell is a member. Every time I scroll up on this thing, it scrolls back down automatically. So I have to keep trying to fucking figure it out. Thomas Taylor, Ash's Antics, my good buddy. You are still a member. Fuck. John Hobbs, Craig Metalllaw, Billy Weeks, Lucas Wilson, Dan Selsky, Keith Kapp, Jared Mitchell. Did I say that one? Anyway, these are all my members, and so the fact that people are don't have to pay and they pay a little bit is phenomenal. Thank you to everyone who watches a little bit. Thank you if you've subscribed. Thank you to everybody who shares and has built this into something that I never ever imagined. It's opened up so many doors, and I just hope that this will continue to be like a hair metal family, a place where you can go back and relive the good times, and I hope it continues growing and we build something that keeps this music alive, because in the end, it really is all about the music.
Fuck yeah.
So, Patrick, thank you for everything you do for the channel. Thank you for facilitating this, the countdown, the road to 10,000. You are a huge part of everything this channel does. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. And again, I thank you because I've made so many great friends on this. Like I said, I feel like it's a rarity where I don't talk to somebody related to this channel, or I don't get a message from one of the viewers who's, telling me something cool about how a video we made their day. So I love making content on this channel, and I love working with you, man. And I feel like you're a brother to me. So thank you.
Amen. Amen. Hey, thank you to everybody. Hey, like, subscribe. Please spread the word however you can and help us grow. It really does mean a lot to me. Hey, like, subscribe, what the hell, ring the bell. And hey, whatever you can do to support the channel, truly, we really do appreciate you being here. Until the next video comes out, my name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. Take care of yourselves.